Welcome to 18th Century Cooking. I'm John Townsend, and today we're doing something a little bit different, fried tripe. And if you don't know what that is, you'll find out in just a moment. Thanks for joining us. This recipe is, again, from the Universal Cook or the Lady's Complete Assistant by John Townsend, probably one of my deep ancestors hundreds of years ago. Anyway, he wrote this cookbook in 1773. He was the owner of the Greyhound Tavern. Yeah, so he had a lot of experience cooking for folks. And this one is a recipe that's called fried tripe. And tripe is cow stomach. It could be other animals, but generally cow stomach is what we're going to be using here. This is white tripe. It's already been cleaned. I'm not sure which one of the stomachs. I think this is from the first stomach in the cow. There's different kinds of tripe, depending on a cow has like 7 stomachs. So there's multiple different kinds of tripe that people eat. It's not popular in today's United States, but it was popular in England in the 18th century and probably in 18th century North America as well. So this one starts out very simply. Our first step is to take our tripe. Now this tripe is already sort of sliced up, but he calls for it to be cut up into thin slices, 3 or 4 fingers long, so just a couple inches long. Now it's time to bread this, and I've got some breadcrumbs here. I've got some egg yolk mixed up, and I'm gonna go ahead and add some spices. He doesn't necessarily talk about adding spices directly to his breadcrumbs, but that's where I would add them. Maybe a little nutmeg, maybe a little salt and pepper, whatever strikes your fancy can go in there. And we'll start off with our tripe pieces. I've got 3 egg yolks in here. There's nothing magic here. We just want to get them totally coated with our breadcrumbs. Okay, these are all breaded up. Now I'm going to get a frying pan going with some suet. Let's fry these up. Looks like we're good and hot, and I think we're ready to fry. It's smoking just a little bit. Let's see what one piece. There we go. Yep. Let's get some in the pan. And the directions say to fry these up until they're a nice golden brown, and then set them off to dry off on a plate. Our fried tripe is ready to try. Now, he actually calls for a couple of dipping sauces. Doesn't that sound interesting? Dipping sauces in the 18th century. He says a plain melted butter for one, and then he says you should have another sauce at the table, which is melted butter mixed with mustard. And so I've got a melted butter mixed with mustard. If you want to try out an 18th century style mustard, the Grey Poupon mustard is actually probably pretty close to an 18th century style mustard. So got those guys mixed up. And I'm gonna go ahead and try one little piece here without any of the sauces, because that's cheating, right? Little chewy, what I would expect out of tripe, but it tastes good. Of course, it's fried and it's got breading, so how can we go wrong? Let's try it with a little bit of butter. Of course, you know, we already fried it, so the best thing to do would be to add butter to that, right? That's good. Now, let's see what happens with our mustard sauce. Never been a big fan of mustard myself, but maybe this is the best way. Interesting mustard flavor, but not overpowering at all, which has always been my problem with mustard. Melted butter is actually a real good way to kind of balance that out, so I really enjoy that. Yeah, that turned out really good. You know, I was really worried about tripe, you know, being difficult. Now, obviously, it's kind of chewy, so he had us cut them into very small slivers so that it was more easy to get these cooked up well. And wow, turned out really good. I'm not sure if I'm gonna eat fried tripe every day, but certainly and you can imagine, can't you? Greyhound Tavern, right? And you're eating in there 1775 or even before that, because all these recipes are pre-1773. And somebody, they want something fried up. They order up fried tripe, and this is what would have gotten, and these two little sauces. So really a fun recipe and fun to try. If you're interested in the Universal Cook or the Lady's Complete Assistant by John Townsend, 1773, the print version of this book is available on our website. I'll make sure to put a link down in the description section. So I want to thank everyone who comes along on all these adventures, all these food adventures, because I wasn't exactly sure how this one was going to turn out, and basically you just got to do it sometimes. So really fun experiments in food to see how these things connect up in history, what's still popular, what was popular in the 18th century. I always enjoy trying these things out and researching them, and I hope you enjoy it too. And I want to thank you for coming along as we savor the flavors and the aromas of the 18th century.